What separates the good from great, the great from legendary? An obsession with competing and refusing to stay the same.
Rather than waiting for it to get easier, you got to just do hard better. Things in life that are important, that mean something, are hard. And you can't complain. You got to do hard better. And I like to say with grit. I like this other phrase a friend of mine, John Morgan, uses, grow or die. And I think, grow doesn't mean necessarily in size, or it could be knowledge or other things. But I think if you just keep doing things the way you've been doing them, you're going to get behind. Because things are changing, especially in the practice of law. If we would have stayed the same how we were, we would have never made it. New people are coming in, new ideas, new creativity. You have to be up to speed with what's going on and improve yourself all the time. Purpose is determined by what is your passion. And for me, not being in sports, this is the closest thing. Winning and being successful and helping people. You could get it all as a plaintiff lawyer. I learned this from my dad. We were fishing one time, and these guys across from us were catching all this fish. We weren't catching anything. And he says to me, look, you're not competing with them. You're competing with yourself to be the best that you can do. Okay, you don't have any control over what they're doing. So forget that. You need to be competing to be the best you can be. And if you do that, then you've done what you need to do. Be grateful for everything that's happened. And I am very grateful and blessed. And every day I think, and when I was growing up, I was a big dreamer. But I never could have dreamed that I would be placed in this position and get to represent these clients and do these trials ever. I never, in my wildest dreams, would have thought it. So I'm very grateful and appreciative every day and have an attitude of gratitude.
What separates the good from great, the great from legendary? Is it talent? Is it opportunity? Is it luck? Or is it something else entirely, something deeper? An obsession with competing and refusing to stay the same. Today's guest lives in what he calls contest living, the understanding that in the courtroom, just like in sports, there's a winner and there's a loser. Brian Panish has delivered some of the largest and most significant jury verdicts in U.S. history on behalf of plaintiffs. If there's a Mount Rushmore of plaintiffs' trial attorneys, Brian Panish is on it. His courtroom victories include a $4.9 billion verdict in the landmark products liability case Anderson v. General Motors, over 6 verdicts in excess of $50 million, over 100 verdicts and settlements in excess of $10 million, and over 600 verdicts and settlements in excess of $1 million. His firm, Panish Shea Ravipudi, has been dominating since it opened its doors in 2005, and quite frankly, there is no end in sight. But his edge didn't start in the courtroom. It started on the football field. It was sharpened at a dinner table that felt like cross-examination at times. And it was tested when he lost his first 3 trials after moving to the plaintiff side of the V. Most people retreat when there are difficulties. Most people slow down after success. Champions do neither. They prepare harder, they study harder, and they compete with themselves. Because winning isn't a marathon, it's a sprint with no finish line. Today, we're talking about the mindset behind the mastery, the discipline, the sacrifice, and the relentless drive to improve. Brian, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, for inviting us to your office to record on site, and welcome to Art of Purpose.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for driving out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to all our listeners, we encourage you, we're really excited about this episode. Please share and subscribe to our channel and share this episode with everybody. This is an episode that you will not and your friends will not want to miss. All right, so Brian, preparing for today's episode, I couldn't help but be inspired, really, and pumped up, to put it, a very sort of colloquial phrase here, by you. It's the spirit that you exude, the spirit of competition and this relentless pursuit of excellence. And that's really what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about competition, about mindset, and this relentless drive to improve. Insights, if you will, into the psychology of a champion. And I want to start with this. I've heard you use the phrase contest living before. Where did you get that from, and what does that mean to you?
Well, I got that from Edward Bennett Williams. He wrote a book called The Man to See, and one of the lawyers I worked with earlier in my career, Brown Green, told me, he was from Washington, D.C., you need to read this book. Edward Bennett Williams was a famous trial lawyer in D.C., and he also owned the Baltimore Orioles and at the time, Redskins and Washington Commanders now. And he wrote a book, and in his book, he said he lived his life contest living. And there were 3 aspects of life. in which there's only a winner and a loser. And those, as you mentioned, number one is sports, number two is politics, and number three is courtroom law. And he was a lawyer, represented presidents, was in politics, tried cases, and owned sports teams. So he knew that. So when I read that, it kind of, to me, crystallized my thinking and saying, that's how I am in a way. And probably that started when I was a young kid, in my family, a lot of kids, a lot of competition in the family, maybe not the most healthiest thing in that environment, but everyone was very competitive. My parents were competitive. They both had, college degrees and postgraduate degrees. And so they were competitive too.
Yeah.
And the girls and the boys were competing against one another, whether it be fishing or basketball.
Right.
And then getting into sports. In that era, when I was growing up, it was not everybody gets a participation trophy.
Right.
And it's great, and, sportsmanship is very important.
Sure.
No doubt. But then everyone was trying to win, and the coaching was different than it is.
Sure, yeah.
It was tough love. I mean, even in college sports, when I played college football, my coach today, he would be fired in one day because it would just not be accepted. But that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
And so that's where I kind of learned and developed on being a winner and what it takes and how much more you have to go beyond, and how, the true champion is always behind.
I love that. The true champion is always behind.
And
you're going to have to
run
explain
through
that for
the
us.
tape.
Yeah.
And you just you can't take plays off. I mean, in college, they would tape, Super 8 or whatever, 18 millimeter, 16 millimeter film of every practice.
Yeah.
And they would look for when you were taking a play off and the play was going the other way. And, and they would, you'd really be reprimanded for just taking a play, even in a practice. And I kind of instilled, whether you're preparing a case, taking a deposition, reviewing an interrogatory, whatever it is, you have to run through the tape. You have to do it completely. And you can't half-ass prepare and do that. Number one, you have your client's case. It's, they're depending on you. But to be a great lawyer and trial lawyer, you have to complete the task. You have to follow through. Just like when you question, cross-examine, you need to listen to the answer. You need to follow up on it. You just don't go from a script. But you have to complete everything. And in sports, you learn that. Either you quit or you make it through football. You tell everyone it's not for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people, like if you play football and you don't like to be hit, it's the worst thing in your life.
Of course.
And the same thing with lawyers that go to court. If they don't like to go to court and they get stressed out about it, which many lawyers do, it's the worst feeling in the world, to be in there and feel uncomfortable and anxious.
Yeah.
And so I've been lucky that the areas that I liked, sports and the courtroom law, that I felt comfortable. Not in the beginning. Obviously, I wasn't as good as I thought I was when I started out.
Sure.
But, it's building up that confidence and that, but just sticking to it, everything you do.
I love that. And the true champion is always behind. I love that idea and that concept. Do you see life as a competition, or is it just, courtroom law?
Well, I mean, as I got older, I learned you need more balance,
Sure.
So...
And yet, that mentality, though, is what has shaped you and
yeah,
helped
no
bring
doubt.
a lot of success.
And, everyone's strengths are their weaknesses. Sometimes I'm like too intense, which is good, but it's also bad. And I think as I've become a better lawyer, more experienced, then I maybe not sweat the small stuff as much.
Sure, that makes sense.
Because a trial and even a case is like a roller coaster. There's ups and there's downs, and you want to kind of stay in the middle, not get too high or too low, because things could change very quickly.
Sure, that absolutely. And is that, you're talking about when you were growing up, your siblings, there's a lot of competition. Sometimes I think people can, certainly young lawyers can look at you and say, wow, I'd like to be able to follow in Brian Panish's footsteps, but I don't feel maybe that I'm very competitive. is that something that people, do you think that people are born with that, or is that something they can develop over time?
Well, I think you certainly part of it's in your DNA, but you can develop the habits, and that's what sports does. Teach you discipline, accountability, teamwork,
Yeah.
things like that. Getting along with other people, being on a team. There's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coaches, personnel, players. You know, a football team is 100 some people, just the players, and everyone else. You're not going to get along with everyone, but
right.
you need to. If you're on the same, you're in the game together, and you have to talk to one another and be able to communicate. So that teaches you how to be part of a team, even with people who maybe you're not your favorite people in the world.
Absolutely. And you have a shared vision, right? You want to win, and whether it's that game or league or championship.
It's also where you learn accountability. When you have one person, and then football is another example where they really, I say football is like a microcosm of life. You look at it, and there are so many things in life. And one thing is, when you're watching the film, usually they would do it by your position group or like offense, defense.
Right.
But you watch like it's with the defense will watch a film in a big picture, and then they go with your coach, and you go through your film. And you're watching the film, and every play they're critiquing you, right. And you learn. That you just can't take it off.
And you mentioned that I think accountability is such a big thing. We talk about that all the time with us as well, like in our office, and how important that is, and in a positive way. But can you talk to us a little bit more about that and how that translates not beyond sports and then into, let's say, law firm culture and life as well?
Well, finish up that last thing on the team.
Yeah.
So you have 11 players. So 10 people perform perfectly. One person doesn't, and they score a touchdown.
Right.
And everyone else is looking at that one person. And that's how you learn accountability. Okay?
Right,
you let down everyone. So you don't want to let down everyone.
Yeah.
But then you have lawyers working on the case. And maybe you're just filling in for a deposition. Or maybe you're just making an appearance, or you're just going to kind of, as they would say in football, go through the motions.
Right.
That's not a good thing. One little thing in a case, you go to a depot, you didn't prepare, you should have asked something, the witness dies. The witness is unavailable, or you didn't cross him on this, and find out that. Just one little thing, especially in these cases, especially representing plaintiffs, the jury expects the plaintiff to be pure as the driven snow. They don't. Everyone, when they're on the jury, they forget all the bad things they've done, and they expect the plaintiff to be up here on this pedestal and be perfect.
A halo on top
And
of
in life, that's just not how life is. But that's what they expect when they get on the jury. So you have to be ready.
Right. And accountability, in that every single person that steps in or plays a role has to hold up their end. Otherwise, it can
And if
affect
somebody's supposed to contact a witness, or somebody's supposed to answer discovery, or review the discovery, and they just like throw it in the file. I've seen this on many. I get in the case, and I'm looking, I'm like, where are the documents? Well, they produced them. You look, and they objected, and they didn't give you the documents, and there's no follow-up. Now you need that.
Yeah.
But to be a successful lawyer or person in life, you need to finish and be accountable. And if you're not accountable, when they say, well, everybody in this team is accountable, when everyone's accountable, nobody's accountable.
Yeah. There's not one single person that will be responsible that we can look at and point to.
So you need to take accountability and learn it.
Right. I love that visual of, 11 players on the team, one person messes up, and that's where you learn accountability, because, everybody's pointing at you, right? You never want that feeling again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't even have to say anything.
Yeah, that's great. I've heard you say that winning isn't a marathon; it's a sprint that never ends. Can you talk to us about what that is? Because you hear it the other way around. Life is not a sprint; it's a marathon. But I
that's
love the way
something
that
I learned early on in one of my coaches, and then I heard it again from I can't remember his name. He was Michael Jordan's trainer.
Tim Grover.
He says that now.
Yeah.
Tim Grover. He says it. I've met him.
Yeah.
And he says it also. But you think when they always say, life's a marathon, don't burn yourself out.
Right.
But you got to be going full speed again.
I love that.
Full speed all the time. That's just, when you start taking a break, they're going to take an advantage on you. Whether it's in a case, in your practice, whatever, you start feeling successful. That's what good coaches do. the team, you have a big win, you come back, you're all reading the press clippings, you're feeling great about yourself, and the coach is like grinding you, running you like crazy.
Right.
So you don't get a big head, start believing it all, and start taking some plays off, start reading your own press clippings.
Absolutely.
As I say, you're only as good as your next trial.
You're always looking ahead.
Yeah,
I love that.
you've already tried those other cases, and all these cases I've already tried. Okay, great. Now, what are you going to do from here on?
I love that. Yeah, because it's my dad actually. It's one of these things that has guided me my entire life. He said, and it's something that I think I heard it first when I was in college, and this has been sort of like my mantra. He said, wherever you're at in life, be happy, but never satisfied. And I love that because it's like, yeah, I'm happy with where I'm at, but I'm still looking ahead, right? What happened in the past is what's happened in the past. I can't do anything about it, whether it's good or bad, but move forward.
But we kind of have like a rule here. This is another football rule.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can see a lot of the crossover is 24 hours, okay? You win a big case, big verdict, great. You get 24 hours, you celebrate. You lose, okay, we don't want you moping around here.
You're right.
You
right.
take 24 hours, okay, now you're on to the next case. And I think that's how you got to look at it. You do need to never be satisfied, but you do need to enjoy the accomplishment of
Being
all the
happy.
work coming together for the client and a great result. Because you should be proud of yourself for helping these people and what you've done. You were their champion, and they relied on you, and you did a good job for them.
Yeah.
And you proud to be a lawyer.
No, I love that. I want to talk to you about growing up Panish. Okay, so when you were a kid and you're growing up with your siblings, and also what it was like growing up the son of your parents, of Howard Panish, who was this great trial attorney, tried many cases. In fact, I read as well that he was it 74 got the first 7-figure punitive damages award.
And then I got the first $1 billion one.
That's
So,
awesome. Well, that's a legacy.
I tell you, it was a different generation.
Sure.
So my dad he was born and raised in New York, as was my mom, in the city. He went on a subway to go to his top school, public school, but you had to test to go to Peter Stuyvesant. Graduated high school, went right into the service, World War II. He was in the Navy, in the Pacific, got out, went to Baylor University as a football guy, and worked as an insurance adjuster at night when he got married, and he went to night law school.
Wow.
We were living in West Covina, which is, 40 minutes without traffic, 30, but in the traffic,
Sure.
it wasn't like it is now,
Right.
but that was it. And then he became a lawyer, and he would, I remember seeing him, this I never forget, seeing him like sitting in a chair, like falling asleep with a deposition and like a beer.
That's funny.
And he would like, let's say we lived in L.A. and he was in trial in San Bernardino. He would like drive back and forth every day. There's no staying in the hotels.
Yeah. There's no
Like
way.
I like to drive too. I don't really like to stay
Yeah.
if I can avoid it. So he would come home, he's tired, working,
Yeah.
and he would say, man, you're always in trial. I mean, he goes, hey, let me tell you something. If you become a lawyer, you're going to learn that the best place to be is in the trial. Now, remember, they didn't have cell phones, anything. Nobody can bother you.
Yeah.
There's no interruptions. You're focused on one thing, and from 9 to 5,
Yeah.
you get to have fun doing your trial, doing your thing. Because when you get out of there, or if you go to the office, he goes, the office is the worst. Everybody's coming in, asking questions.
Or it's
You can't
calling.
focus. And so that was a good point. And, the reason I wanted to be a lawyer was to do the trials. That was the only reason. Because I saw a lot of lawyers. One my dad worked with was a famous lawyer in San Bernardino, Tino Garza.
Oh yeah, of course.
And they worked together defending this insurance company in Los Angeles. And they had a big group of lawyers, and they would try all these cases. And this is even before Lee versus Yellow Cab, which made pure comparative in California. If the plaintiff was 1%, you'd lose.
Okay.
This is in the 72, maybe, Lee versus Yellow Cab came out. But before that, it was really hard. And they were they were winning all these cases,
Yeah.
and nobody's getting big verdicts,
Yeah.
but they were getting tons of trial experience,
Wow.
which helped them later in life when
Yeah.
they became plaintiff lawyers. Many of the lawyers, as I tell people, the most important thing is the trial experience if you want to be a trial lawyer.
Yeah.
Whether I even say with the DA, city attorney, it's okay. Being in court, being comfortable, dealing with witnesses, courtroom staff, subpoenas, all this stuff that it's just foreign to you. They don't teach you in law school. They do a little better, but they don't teach you like how to line up the witnesses, what's the order of the witnesses, what happens when this guy can't come, how do you read the depo, which clips are you going to be able to do, was that on the exhibit list?
I remember driving out to airports picking up witnesses, right? Because we need them to
No,
come.
I've done trial. I had to go drive. I was doing a trial. All right, so when I started being a plaintiff lawyer, I had won maybe 17 defense cases in a row. And one or two plaintiff cases. This is only in like 2.5 years.
Wow.
So they were giving me great opportunities at the firm I worked at, Engstrom, Lipscomb, Lack, which was primarily defense then, but they did plaintiff work.
Right.
And it was good. They just gave me as much as I could handle.
Yeah.
Going all over California doing trials. And then I became the plaintiff lawyer. And my first, you mentioned in the introduction, I lost my first 3 cases. True. The first one I lost. I was just joined, the firm was called Green O'Reilly, Paul Simon, McMillan, Wheeler, and Rosenberg. And we're downtown L.A., and it's Brown Green, Bruce Boylett, Charlie O'Reilly, all these great Gary Paul, all were trial lawyers of the year, great lawyers, trying cases. Everyone's trying cases. So I'm working for Brown Green. And Brown Green, for the first year, the president at that time was called the California Trial Lawyers. There's a huge tort reform push in Sacramento. And he lived in Sacramento. He'd come home on Fridays and the weekends.
Yeah.
But he was up there in the legislature working all the time. So I'm on his cases, and he was the senior guy, and he had the best cases. The best injuries, maybe they were tough.
Yeah.
There are a lot of tough cases.
Yeah.
So the first case, and there's 2 other lawyers in the team and me. And he brings me, the secretary puts this big file on my desk and says, okay, you're going to do this trial in a couple weeks.
That's awesome.
And the other lawyers were mad. So then she goes, and Brown Green goes, I am giving this great case, man. Our guy got hit by a drunk driver who's crossing the street.
Oof.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. Then I find out we're not suing the driver because he doesn't have any insurance. He doesn't skid until, way after he was drunk. Our guy was drunk. Our guy was crossing the middle of the street, and we're suing the county of Riverside for inadequate lighting, and they're probably not even charged with lighting.
Yeah. Okay.
So then I read, I'm
Goodness.
I thought I could win.
Yeah.
So I'm driving, and I lived from here down where the ocean is, Santa Monica. So I would get on the last exit on the 10 freeway where it goes into the ocean,
Okay.
4th Street, and I would drive to downtown L.A. My client lived in the Appalachian Mountains, Tennessee.
Oh, goodness.
Raymond Dietrich. And I would pick up him and his wife. They would take the bus from Norwalk, 6 in the morning. They meet me 7:15 at my office. I would then drive to Riverside. Didn't have no one helping me.
Yeah.
Try the case, drive back to the court, then do my work on my other cases.
'cause you have
then
to.
drive home, wake up at 4 in the morning, prepare and do this for 3 weeks. And I never complained. I was, happy. I wasn't not tired. I was feel I'm going to win the case. Everything's going great. And of course I lost the case, but the jury did find dangerous condition, which was a win in and of itself.
Yeah.
But I felt good about it. I mean, it was a good experience. I was happy. I did the best I could for the client. One time, I'll never forget the bailiff. This nice woman bailiff says to me, hey, and the guy's wife had a windbreaker on. She wasn't dressed nice. And she was just chomping on this bubble gum all and then she said, maybe you should tell the lady not to chomp on the bubble gum.
Yeah. Well, that was nice of her to say that.
Yeah, she was trying to help me.
Yeah.
It was multiple times in my first trial I was getting help, and I would always tell the jury for first 10 trials maybe, well, this is my first trial. I'm just learning how to do this.
Use that to your advantage.
You use that for a little while, but eventually that doesn't work. But
That's really, and what I love about that, Brian, as well, is that you were looking for those opportunities because you knew you wanted to be a trial attorney. So you sought opportunities where you would be able to go to trial. How can I ask you? Because I think there are many young attorneys or kids in law school as well that want to do that, but there's also the lure of the higher paying job and maybe another place that won't pay that amount but will provide opportunities. Sort of
Well,
advice from your end there.
my advice, if you want to be a trial lawyer, you got to work where you're going to get the opportunities. The money, you got to hope, bet on yourself.
Yeah.
So my first job, I got paid $27,000 and 3,000 car allowance. I thought I was doing great. I was getting to go
Living
to
the
trial.
life,
I was working all the time. The people were nice. I got some good cases to work on. They let me do whatever I want. That was pretty good. Then, after like the second year, I still tell me, the people here whispered that I billed the most hours ever in the history of the firm.
Oh, wow.
Some outrageous number, which is probably inflated.
Yeah.
And I got this like really small bonus, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this is a performance-based business here. What's going on?
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? It's time for me to like go be a plaintiff attorney.
Right.
I think I learned enough here. I was good. I'm happy, but it's time to go.
No, absolutely. And that makes sense.
But I never was worried about the money. Now, I wasn't married. I was single, and, I lived in a house, rent controlled, the beach with 3 other guys. I paid like $180 rent. So when we became lawyers, when I was in law school, everyone just wanted to get a job. There was no one in my law school, Southwestern, Harvard of the West. There was no one, maybe one person was going to a big firm. That was like the top student in the school.
Right.
There weren't obviously many. The lawyers in the firm weren't as many. There's a lot of top law schools. They're going to the top law schools, looking for the top students. And we were just happy to get jobs. Now I see my kids, my oldest daughter, and she's goes into big law, and they're all talking about how much they get paid, and this was this, and the number of hours.
Right.
That was not even in the equation.
Yeah. And I love
Making money. No one talked in my law school class like, how much money are you going to make?
Right. And that's what I hear very much from you here is that, and I love that because clearly you've had so much success and beyond, what anyone could dream of. And one could say if that was your goal, you would have reached your goal already, right? But it seems to me that was never your goal. That came as a byproduct of your passion for trial and helping people.
I was never in it to get money. But if you do a good job,
Right.
it should work out for you.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, and if it was so easy, everyone would do it. Right. But if you're built for it and you have the mindset and the different skill set, number one, it's fun. You're helping people. You're having games a lot. It's different here though. In law, you lose a trial. It's okay. You lose a couple trials. Depending if you're a plaintiff lawyer, it could be a problem financially. But defense lawyers, they lose cases.
Right.
Football coaches, you lose cases, they fire you.
Right.
Now, insurance companies, they could fire you if you lose, or your plaintiff's you're not going to fire you.
Yeah. You, we spoke a little bit about you growing up with your family. And one thing I did want to ask is, as I sort of reading more about you and hearing your story, and I think this is interesting for our listeners as well, who could be going through a similar experience in their own sort of lives, which is, you wanted to be an NFL player, right? That's how you play football. You wanted to make it. And at some point, you played collegiate. You got a scholarship, played linebacker and free safety at Fresno State. You were very successful. But at some point, you knew or decided that maybe NFL wasn't in the plans, but that same passion and grit that you had, you focused it somewhere else, and that pursuit of excellence. But was there a period in between where maybe you were doubting yourself, didn't know what to do? And, because I think sometimes people go through that, right?
Well, my down time was I was a high school football coach.
All right, tell us about that, please.
Yeah, I was coaching and being a teacher, and I was coaching at St. John Bosco High School, where I went to high school.
Okay, so this was after college.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a friend of mine was the head coach, Terry Roach. He went on to have a great career. He was a head coach at Diamond Bar, Chino Hills, won a lot of CF championships. He's a great inspirational leader. I learned a lot from him, coaching for 2 years. One was the first year I was in law school. That was probably a bad idea.
You were in law school and
My
coaching.
first year, yes.
That's
that
awesome.
that was not a good year.
Yeah.
For my grades. That semester was not good. Now,
Your
I
time's
hadn't really
compromised.
I've been in college, you know, not overstudying. Let's just put it that way.
Playing
I'm having a
football.
good time playing football. I'm in a fraternity.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying college life.
Sure.
Studying was not like
Academics
high on the
came-
priorities.
yeah.
But I went to good high school. It wasn't hard.
Yeah.
But I graduated. But I got decent grades, good enough to get in law school at that time. Probably now it would probably be a big problem to get in. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. And he said, "Hey, why don't you just come teach, coach?" So I did it. I really liked it. The next year, I got offers to go to college to coach.
Oh, wow. So you're doing really
And
well.
I went to visit, a couple places. One of them was in Utah, and these coaches that I'd known. I knew a lot of coaches, and a lot would come through recruiting, come through the high school.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I would see them. And then my dad kept saying, "Well, it's coach. You're gonna have to move all over." And most of my friends were coaches that I went to high school with and college. I would say 85%.
Okay.
Both are all retired. One is still coaching the NFL.
Oh, wow.
Still, but everyone, they already did most of them were high school football coaches, 30 some years.
Sure.
They finish,
Oh,
they get their retirement, they're enjoying life. My dad said, "Well, you should just check it out, just check out the law school." He never really forced me. He'd always say, "What are you going to do when you get out of school?" Well, I'm going to be in pro football. Okay, what if that doesn't work out? He didn't say you're not going to make it, which the odds of making it is like
Yeah.
very, very low. Several guys did make it off my team, but they were outstanding players.
Right.
So there was no chance, realistically, if I was really, knew what I was doing. But you have those dreams. And I didn't want to give it up yet, so I just went to coaching.
Yeah. No, I get it. I still joke all the time that I still want to be a baseball player when I grow up.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, of course we want to play sports. And
Yeah, that's all I did. I played 3 sports in high school. So I never went home like a day after
yeah.
school.
Always playing sports.
That's what I was doing my whole life as a kid. A lot of kids, and my dad was working, and we're just out playing every sport possible, going to the parks, the schools, being in the leagues, going to the boys' club,
Yeah.
just doing it. And my mom wasn't driving us. We'd ride our bikes to where we were going.
Ah, okay.
So there was
Gotcha,
not
yeah.
much driving.
everywhere. I mean, you're riding your bike everywhere. And so your dad is not, not discouraging you from NFL dreams, but at the same time sort of going like, hey, why don't
Well,
you
he's
check?
like, he's always
why
say,
don't you
make
check
sure,
this?"
and he never would ask me my grades were. I'd always say, better make sure you get good grades in case you want to go to law school.
Yeah.
Just get good enough grades to go to law school.
And so there's this
So
lure.
then I go in there.
Right. There's this lure of continuing to coach because it's your passion, but then law school as well. How do you, make that pivot?
Well, I didn't really want to move around a lot. Like a lot of my buddies, they would have to go to all these, Western Illinois and Mississippi State, and they'd move around many, many places. And I liked it here.
Okay.
So I had worked in my dad's law firm. I'd seen what it was like a couple times, so I understood it. I liked the trials. I'd seen trials. So I said, all right, I'm going to go there. So I go there.
Super cool.
I show up. I never forget my first day. I'm standing in the back, and they have somebody giving the orientation speech. I'm wearing these jeans that I had that had like stars on the pockets. And I'd wear, my big dressiest clothes and like a Letterman jacket and like really long hair. And I'm standing in the back, and I'm looking at all these people. I'm like, there's nobody like me here.
Oh, okay.
And then the first 2 weeks, they put you in like a legal writing class.
Right.
So I start meeting people, and I have this paper due, and it's for early on in the school year. And on the Saturday night, I went to a Fresno State game, like Anaheim Stadium,
awesome.
with my
Okay, of
buddy.
course.
And then we went out, stayed out late, and didn't come back to the next day. And then my paper was due like the next day.
Aye.
So I'm sitting there at home. First, I'm trying to get my dad to like help me. He has no time. He's in like a trial. He writes like one thing, the first paragraph, one sentence,
Yeah.
and they go, never write a one sentence paragraph, and they read that out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I'm trying to meet this other buddy of mine that I knew that went to law school, was going, and he was running a swap meet down in Long Beach. I had to wait for him at the swap meet. I'm hungover. He's trying to show I'm like dying. I get back at like 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, no.
I'm drinking Sanka, trying to stay awake with a typewriter. Can't type. I turn it in. It's terrible. Then I start saying, "Oh, maybe this isn't for me."
Ah, okay. Yeah.
But then they let you go, and this time like 40% of the class gets kicked out
Oh, I didn't know
because
that.
on grades, and the bar passage rate was like really low.
Oh.
So we go through the first semester. I'm coaching. I make friends though. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
But there's no tests till the midterm.
Okay.
So
Goodness.
everyone thinks, we're doing fine. We're going
My
to sit in
heart's
there.
beating.
We're there. Okay. So then we do the final. The first final is civil procedure. And the teacher was like a hard ass, really hard. In fact, my daughter had the teacher, and she said to her, my teacher said to my daughter, is your dad? So yeah, she goes, he was very disruptive in my class. He remembers this 40 some years later.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I take the test. I'm going to take the test, and I see this buddy of mine who's in law school. He's an older guy. He came back to law school. His dad was the head of a big defense firm, so he would like help us a little bit. And he goes, just the test is on Tuesday. Just watch Monday Night Football. Take it easy. You'll be ready. It'll be fine. So that's what I do. Okay. I do the test. So now, a month and a half later, we're back for the second semester. They don't give the grades forever. And we're standing outside, me and my 5 little buddies, and they go, the civil procedure grade is out. You can go get it. Right. They won't mail it to you. They mail it in these little envelopes for you. Open it like that.
Yeah.
And they go, you can go get your grade.
Okay.
I'm just sitting there like, I don't know.
I want to.
So some people go get it.
Yeah.
This one like obnoxious guy who ended up getting kicked out, I think, but he got back in later. He takes this thing and just boom, open it right in front of everyone.
Okay.
And goes, I got a 78. I passed.
Okay.
Now the highest you get was 89 on it. The lowest is 70. If you get below, say you flunked the class.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to go get mine.
Yeah.
But then I don't really want to open around these people. So I walk around the block. I open it up. 70.
Oh, goodness.
My heart I almost died. I'm like, I'm never going to make it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to make it. And then I was so mad. I go see the teacher, and the first thing it says on the cover of my test, -2. What was that? He goes, read the directions. It says, do not write on the back of the blue book pages. If you do, it's 2 points off.
Oh,
I don't even read that.
Yeah.
Boom.
-2.
This is my other saying is paying attention to detail. I wasn't paying attention to detail. That's another thing that I preach in the culture you talk about.
Yeah.
Attention to detail. I wasn't paying attention to detail. I thought, oh my God. So then I started to like study, get more serious.
Yeah.
And then I turned it around after that. But it took me a little while to adjust.
And it sounds like, I would imagine you're a young man at that time, right? And you have sort of maybe one foot in football, still one foot.
Right, I could always do that.
Yeah, and that.
But once I was there, I didn't want to like quit or like get not kicked out even worse.
And that's sort of what I wanted to get to here, is because you gave the example earlier about accountability, the one player messing up and knowing that it was all on him, and here going through this law school experience where I guess you could point at no one but yourself and go, I have the power to change this or not.
Right.
And you took action.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I love that.
And then I would like go, how can this guy get a better grade than me?
Okay.
That was a really
There goes
was
the
it.
competitive.
Like
There goes
this guy, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
That, and he's like putting it right in my face. I'm like, okay, that's it.
So that's the actual answer, is the competitive fire was lit under Brian, right?
Once I'm there, I'm not quitting, man.
Yeah,
No way. I got to make it.
Yeah, I love that. Is purpose, we see now how you went from football, transitioned into law school, and now you're, focused entirely. You're going to study. You're going to actually give your 100% effort into this. Do you feel that purpose is something that's discovered, or is it built through discipline? Or something else?
I think purpose that's a good question. I would say purpose is developed because you don't really know in the beginning. What are you really going to do?
Yeah.
And purpose is determined by what is your passion. And for me, not being in sports, this is the closest thing. Maybe a Wall Street trader, but I don't like that. Those, even though we're gambling all the time
Sure,
as a
yeah,
contingency fee
absolutely.
lawyer, I don't like gambling.
Yeah. Same.
I don't like to lose. Whether it's $5 or whatever the sum is, it's just not me.
Yeah.
I figure work too hard and but we're gambling with a purpose, I guess,
Right. Absolutely. And for someone.
for
Always.
someone else.
Yeah. And if I love that the passion, purpose is developed, and it's determined by what your passion is. And it seems to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, but really your passion is competition. Some of it, right?
Yeah.
Because you translated, whether it's the football, the gridiron, whether it's the courtroom, it's this competitive fuel that sort of drives you.
And winning and being successful and helping people. And that
Yeah.
you could get it all as a plaintiff lawyer. I mean, where else can you get it? Sports, you're not even really helping anyone.
No,
I mean, maybe your
entertaining, but
school.
not helping. Yeah.
You're not really helping. You're having a great time, though. But for this, I have just as much fun. And practice isn't as hard. Practice is hard. I mean,
Yeah.
practice, you'd like the games, but the practice is tough. Like being a trial lawyer, you got to do the work, too. You got to put in the practice,
Yeah.
or you're not going to be successful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You've said if you stay the same, you're going backward. Can you explain that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if people are walking down the road and they're going at the same speed and another guy's going faster, they're going to pack them up. They're going to pass them. So I like this other phrase a friend of mine, John Morgan, uses, grow or die. And I think, grow doesn't mean necessarily in size, or it could be knowledge or other things. But I think if you just keep doing things the way you've been doing them, you're going to get behind because things are changing, especially in the practice of law.
Yeah.
In this practice, since I became a lawyer, the complete different, like, how would you get a case? Just take that, how that has changed. Or the rules and the experts and the costs and everything has changed. So if we would have stayed the same how we were, we would have never made it.
Yeah.
And new people are coming in, new ideas, new creativity. You have to be up to speed with what's going on and improve yourself all the time.
Yeah. And that's really enlightening, Brian, because I think many folks, individuals, professionals, whoever, whatever industry or profession, when they experience a level of success, it's almost like they plug and play, copy, paste, doing the same things, and nothing needs to change because I've had success
It's,
doing it this way.
it's again, whether they're hungry or not. And you can't teach hungry.
I love that.
John Morgan wrote a book about that.
Yeah.
You read that book. It tells you can't teach. Even people are who they are. You can want someone as hard as you push them. If they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to make it. You can push them and tutor them, but if they really deep down they don't want to do it, they're not going to make it.
You're not going to change that part.
No.
Yeah. This is other phrase that I've heard you say, and this one I've written this one down. I have this little quote book that I have on my phone, really, notes. You have to do hard better.
Well, that came from the Duke women's basketball coach, Kara Lawson. She taught that basically when you're in life, like when you're a kid, you have older siblings, and you look like, I want to do that, and eventually you get there and you start feeling comfortable. But then you go to school, and then you feel that you're in kindergarten, and then the 8th graders and all these other people are beating you down, and eventually you get there to 8th grade. You're feeling like you're the top of the heap. Then you go to high school and you're back on the bottom.
On the bottom rung.
And then you get to be the senior in high school, and then you go to college and you're back on the bottom. You get to the top, you're back. You become a lawyer. I mean, it's just that. And so rather than waiting for it to get easier, you got to just do hard better. And you got to know the things in life that are important, that mean something, are hard. And you can't complain. You got to do hard better. And I like to say with grit. And grit is another real important trait for trial lawyers. to not give up, to stay with it, to have that stick-to-itiveness, to know that you can come back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I talk about grit all the time, particularly with young, law school students. It's this idea of you just have to keep pushing, right, no matter what. And so, with what you just talked about, doing hard better, can you talk just a little bit about how that applies to everyday life as a trial attorney? Where is it that you're looking to improve?
Well, I'm looking all the time to not raise my voice as much, to not say and as much, certain phrases, and just the presentations of the case constantly, experts, how to do direct exam, I change it up, damage testimony, how to put on your damage case, I've continued to change on that, learn more things, learn from other lawyers. I've learned so much from watching other lawyers in trial. But when I was a lawyer, when I became a young lawyer, there was no TV. There were none of that. So you would have to go to the court. I would actually be there watching. When I was in law school all the time, I'd go down there watching the trials.
Right.
That's the best way to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now you can just watch the video
Video.
of the CVN or some trials on video is good.
And yet, but it makes a huge difference going there. I saw your closing recently, and it's an entirely different experience sitting there watching you interact with jurors and speak to them rather in person rather than on screen. And that's the stuff that we want to pick up and learn how to do. It seems to me that you're not competing with anybody else, and you're just competing with yourself. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I learned this from my dad. We were fishing one time in a lake, and these guys across from us were catching all this fish. We weren't catching anything.
Sure.
I'm like, come on, man, these guys are killing us here. What's the deal? Well, we find out later that they had done this illegal chumming where they took jars of cat food or cans of cat food and salmon eggs, and they dump in the water, and the fish come over and they catch it. And he says to me, look, you're not competing with them. You're competing with yourself to be the best that you can do. Okay, you don't have any control over what they're doing. So forget that. You need to be competing to be the best you can be. And if you do that, then you've done what you need to do.
Right. And you save yourself the worry or anxiety of thinking about somebody else.
But it's easier to say than do.
Of course. How much of winning is preparation versus mindset?
Well, I mean, there's so much to go winning. First of all, in courtroom law, you need to have a good case. But in life, I think mindset, winners, they don't get down. They realize, they call it, as another saying in my college football, called temporary setback. Yeah. It's a temporary setback. That would be and I hear that all day long in practice. Temporary setback, let's go, but move the ball out. So you'd hear a temporary setback. So that was drilled in my brain in 1977. Coach Jim Sweeney, temporary setback. And he had all these sayings and, that he would say and that we, all the time. And that was one of them. Temporary setback.
Are there any of those sayings that
that guide you today? I have them all on the wall over there.
Yeah.
He had them on the other wall. He had poor preparation makes piss poor performance. And things like that.
Yeah. They continue to guide you, again, from gridiron to the court.
Yeah. That's why I say when I went to college, my education was in the athletic. It wasn't in the classroom.
Yeah.
Nothing you really learn in college is going to help you as a lawyer. I don't think nothing I learned, I don't think, other than interacting with people, all kinds of different people in a different area, like that. But
and you know what? That was going to be my question, actually. What did football teach you that law school couldn't?
Taught me how to get all the things we talked about, discipline, accountability, how to get along with different people, how to live in different areas, all the things that went with it, dealing with recruits, trying to get the recruits. So you're like trying to sign up the case. You bring the recruits in, you're trying to recruit them, the players working on that.
Right. And
so that you learn about persuasion, a lot of things. I mean, it's, as I said, it's a microcosm of life. And winning and losing.
Yeah. And so, okay, so we've talked about life growing up, football, college, even, and then going to law school. You started practicing as a young attorney, did insurance defense, 17 trials, winning them, moving over to the plaintiff side. And you experienced a very successful career at that plaintiff's
Well,
firm.
it took me a little while. I mean, obviously, I lost my first 3 cases. Now, the third one I lost with Brown Green.
Oh goodness.
We had already had $1 million settlement, and it was the product. It was the hard part of the case, and we had a terrible judge. And finally, I think we won. I won a case in like 19, whatever it was, 80 something, which is my first big case.
Okay.
And that case was really, I learned so much in that case.
Can you tell us a little bit about that case?
Sure, that was a case of Rostello versus City of Torrance.
Okay.
So when I started at Brown Green firm, as the Green firm, I go into my office. They give me this nice office, and there's a 2-foot high stacked demur to the Fifth Amended complaint.
Nice.
And I'm looking at it, it's all 1983 civil rights. And again, I'm like, oh man, this maybe I thought I was going to be the trial lawyer.
Trial lawyer.
And it's like due in red, in like a month.
Yeah.
Or the date was on it.
Like, what
I'm
did I
like,
agree
oh,
to?
it's right there, the first one.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, is this the right thing for me? Like I was thinking in law school. I go back to my other job. I was great. I was making money. I made a lot more money in my new job.
Yeah.
I think I got 100,000.
Wow.
I went from 30,000 to 100,000.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, that was.
But it wasn't even a lot then. But
Yeah. But
I wasn't worried about the money. But
Yeah.
for a 3 times raise, it's pretty good.
You'll take it.
Right. And so Kelly Rostello was the youngest of 7 children of this family in San Pedro. Father was a big insurance guy. He was coming home from seeing his girlfriend on Labor Day weekend. Palos Verdes, going down the road on a motorcycle. A police officer, off duty, drunk, cut the corner, hit him. He's killed. The police come, do a massive cover-up, blame everything on him. The brother, Tim Rostello, is a big-time lawyer in Colorado. Oh, okay. So now back to the demur, the legal assistant says to me, hey, don't worry about that demur. I said, really? She goes, oh, no, the brother is firm. They'll do everything. You'll just have to sign it. He'll send it out. Sends out FedEx, everything to sign, tabs, perfectly written by some law review person. So we proceed.
You said I did pick the right job.
I said, okay, I can be on this case. The brother was a great lawyer. He worked on the case, him and I, 16 hours a day for like a year. Take all these depots. There's Supreme Court writs on discovery. You've got all these police personnel files. So our theory was, under 1983, to hold the city liable, you have to show a pattern of practice, a policy. You can't just do it with one case. Manel is the case. So we had all these. Our theory was that they failed to discipline cops for drug and alcohol offenses. Therefore, we got all the police personnel files. We had all these complaints. Yeah. So we tried the case. And there were like 7 cops, defendants, the police chief. They were threatening us. And we got a big verdict and went on appeal. We won. And, it was in the newspaper every day because it was a big thing against the police. And it was before Rodney King and all that. So the police still were somewhat believed.
Gotcha. And it was difficult getting over that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in those days, no one thought police officers would ever lie.
Right. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That sort of like me picturing sort of you going through that and being there. That's amazing. You then spend, 17, 18 years at that firm? And then
I was still from 1987, February 1st, I think I started.
Oh, wow.
Until 2005, I think, so whatever. And the firm changed and moved to Santa Monica, but I stayed with the main part of the firm, and then I was a partner there for many years, and we had a lot of fun and won a lot of big cases.
Very successful, yeah. At some point, you decide, I want to open up my own
shop.
Yeah,
I wanted to have my own firm. I wanted to be able to do it how I wanted to do it. You know, they had their ways to do it. I have mine. They're not exactly the same. Right. And they're still around doing well, and we're doing okay.
Mm-hmm. What is it? Was it, the same idea of sort of being a coach as well? Because you do some of that, I imagine, here as leading your firm as well.
Oh, for
right?
sure,
Because
all
you
the
have
time.
players.
I've won many championships as a coach. When I went to St. John Bosco, my first year, we went from worst to first. The
That's
team was
awesome.
in last place. We won the first, won 2 championships
it
there.
did, yeah.
I coached my daughters in basketball. I won 89 straight games. In basketball, I was a
That's
hated
awesome.
girls basketball
sure.
coach.
But you were having a blast.
Oh man, I was, they wouldn't allow full court press, so I was half court trap them. No one, they could never beat that.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that's funny. And so now coaching as your law firm
No,
as
definitely.
well. Right?
But I think I just needed to grow myself more.
Mm-hmm.
Was very comfortable there. I could have stayed there my whole life, but I sit there one day and I said, 20 years from now, I don't want to be sitting here in the same, or don't want to try more.
Right.
And that's what I decided, and it worked out great.
It goes back.
But you don't know that right away. No. You worry. Everyone says, "Oh, you're going to do great. You're going to do great." Well, we'll see. Are we going to get any cases?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I learned that early on. The guy that gets the cases is the one that's the most important.
That's the name of the game,
right?
And it seems to me, sir, again, you're putting into practice what you believe, which is, if you stay the same, you're falling behind, right? And you were doing very well, you're comfortable, but it was time to improve, right?
It was time to,
change things.
This is another thing my coach would say: get out of my comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Don't stay in your comfort zone. Yeah. Get out of your comfort zone, or make them get out of their comfort zone.
That as well. How do you, in a firm with, you have 40, 50 lawyers, how do you build a team that competes internally in a healthy way?
That's hard because everyone is competitive. But I think by everyone sharing and realizing it's the firm getting all the verdicts, is not just one person, it's the team, because no one person is doing it. Right. I might, like the case in San Bernardino. I was there. I just came in the end. Tom Schultz, my daughter, Andy Schrader, they worked hard on that case. Yeah. I just, I'm kind of like, they let me be like the guy that gets the ball on the 1 yard line and scores the touchdown. But all the hard grinding work is done by many others. And they're appreciated. And that's what it takes. The team, you're not going to go in there, miss one guy, Mr. Gunslinger, and put the case together and go try it himself and do all this. It just isn't going to happen. Right. Nobody can do that. I mean, you look at these cases now, the complexities, the number of lawyers that it takes, the work, the motion practice. It's a lot.
Yeah. The number of lawyers on the other side that you have to combat as well.
Oh, they're not just making it easy. I mean, they're making you really fight for everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's why it helps to have a good case.
What does it take to be a great trial lawyer?
Well, I think it takes discipline. I think it takes passion. It takes accountability. It takes grit. Street smarts.
Yeah.
Quick on your feet. So you got to know the law too. You can't just go in there and not know.
Yeah.
So the things that you need to know is the evidence code, civil procedure for sure.
Yeah.
Rules with experts. And then you got to have confidence when you're in there and passion. And they'll see it. The jury will see whether you really are passionate about it or not when you're asking for the money. Yeah. They'll see, does he really believe it or not?
They sniff it out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do you manage intensity without burnout?
I've been pretty fortunate. I mean, I do a lot of working out and just I like it too much. Yeah. I don't know why I'm burnt out. I mean, I never got burned out on football either,
right?
Or sports. I never got burned out on that. Maybe I got burned out after. But like I had a daughter. She played college soccer. She wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
She's done. She wants no soccer. She want to play. She don't watch.
You're right.
She doesn't even want her stuff. She's like,
period's done.
Yeah.
Right.
Move on.
One of the things that of the many things that I admire about you is how, you mentioned you coached your children's teams growing up, and the time that you set aside because, you have a very successful practice. You're running a business now. It's your firm. You have so many responsibilities, clients relying on you, staff, other attorneys relying on you, and yet you making the time for your children. Can you talk to me, us about the importance of that and how
Well,
you're able
the
to carve
balance
that?
is important. Look, I haven't been the most balanced person. I'll be the first to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but I like the sports. I was a big proponent of it. Two of my kids, well, one of them played a little high school basketball. The other one was in 3 sports. The other one was a little bit. So they all didn't have the passion that I had. And I had to first realize that and understand.
Okay.
But I still think it was important that they, as a young kid, were on the teams doing the sports, maybe, too much. But I wanted them to learn all the things that I wasn't trying to think they were all going to go to college or be in the professionals. But I wanted them to learn all those characteristics. And if they could play in college, great. And, one of them did. It was great, good for her. I think that's the greatest experience of my life was playing college football and making those friendships and being with those players and learning all those life lessons. I don't think I'd ever would be here without that. Yeah. And learning so much from that. And if I could go back tomorrow, despite all my injuries, I would be there tomorrow if my body would cooperate.
Yeah, absolutely get it. Well, Brian, thank you so much. We're going to close off our time here. I know that you have a lot going on, and we want to make sure that we let you get back to that. And as we close off here, what does success mean to you today, and what does that look like?
I think success means that the firm have an outstanding reputation for putting the client first and getting the best results possible. And the firm could continue to do that forever, even when I'm not here. And that is my dream and goal, that eventually I'm not going to be here. It's gone eventually.
Sure.
I certainly want to be here as long as I can, but I want the firm to maintain the reputation, hard work, and excellence in representing the clients and getting the best recoveries and trying cases and getting some of the biggest verdicts still. And that's kind of my goal, and that's where we're headed. And I think we have a lot of younger lawyers in the firm. 3 have won Trial Lawyer of the Year for LA. Many have had $1 million verdicts. 2 or 3 of them are in trial right now. Many of them are coming back, getting ready to start other trials. Yeah. And for other lawyers, if you have a strong bench, again, guys are down. Now, me, I'm going to have hip surgery. I'm going to be down for a little while. I told them the quarterback might be out for a few weeks. So we're going to have you other guys that have to step it up. But it's the more depth you have. I can't trial the cases. Raul can't trial the cases. Adam. And we want people to come here because they want to try cases. Because if they come here, we're going to give them that chance. And everyone that comes, we right away get them in a trial with someone. They're not going to be the lead lawyer, but they're going to be there at the trial from start to finish, seeing what happens. Yeah. I've had Spencer Lucas. He's had many more. His first day, I'm like, okay, Lucas, we're going to El Centro. We're starting a trial.
Awesome.
What am I going to do? You can keep track of the exhibits. You sit in the front row and do that. So that was his first trial he ever was in. He's watching it down at El Centro.
That's awesome. I love those stories because that's how you learn. I was in trial 2 weeks after passing the bar, doing exactly that, just helping out, watching the paces, and that's how you learn.
Exactly. Yeah. So we want to give everyone those opportunities because that's just going to make them a better lawyer. Bottom line, they're going to be able to help the clients more.
And I'll end with this question. What would you tell your 25-year-old self with in retrospect?
I would tell myself to, number 1, pay attention to your health. Stay in great shape. So it's going to help you cognitively, physically, and with your stamina. Number 2, have a little more balance in your life. Don't sweat the small stuff. And, be grateful for everything that's happened. And I am very grateful and blessed. And every day I think, and when I was growing up, I was a big dreamer. I was going to be a professional athlete and do all this stuff. But I never could have dreamed that I would be placed in this position and get to represent these clients and do these trials ever. I never, in my wildest dreams, would have thought it. So I'm very grateful and appreciative every day and have an attitude of gratitude.
And with that, I think that's the perfect way to end our episode here. Thank you so much, Brian,
my
for your
pleasure.
time. And it's really inspirational. I know all our listeners are going to love this and be inspired by it. And thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Art of Purpose. Share this episode. There are so many people in your lives that need to hear Brian's words and to be encouraged and inspired. We'll see you on the next episode of Art of Purpose.